Testing. Now let's go.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get started, just a little housekeeping, also room space. So, to your right, there are some restrooms. Both. To your right, there are some restrooms. There are also an emergency exit down the hallway. And of course, the emergency exit to your right behind you. And of course, the emergency exit to your left.
A little bit louder.
I teach speech class with a teacher, and so she's been teaching me to, speak up. So I guess this is perfect practice. I'm trying to work on it. But yes, to your right, an exit. Right behind you is an exit, and to your left is an exit. So please be mindful of those. In case of emergency, please exit through those doors. And I also just crossing the street to the Riverside Institute of the Fair Housing Council. Until we call you over what to say. Okay? To get started, in the words of John Lewis, do not get lost in the sea of despair. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. And thank you for being here to make good and necessary trouble. Hello everyone, and good evening. My name is Charlie Alexander. I am the Education and Community Outreach Specialist at the Civil Rights Institute in Inland Southern California. But today I am your MC for Good Trouble Lives On in Riverside. Thank you guys so much. This is in recognition and appreciation of civil rights leader and former U.S. Congressman John Lewis. Tonight, we will be sitting down to learn how different generations of activists and community leaders in the Inland Southern California region have demonstrated protesting through an engaging conversation during our intergenerational discussion on making good trouble, led by our facilitator, Daryl Fry. Following our conversation, we will be viewing a 30-minute segment of the John Lewis Good Trouble documentary, which will then lead us into finding our Good Trouble workshop, where you will learn alternative ways to demonstrate safety awareness and preparedness if you decided to physically protest, and making your commitment on how you will make good trouble. And to end it off, I encourage you to stick around as we will be closing off with a prize raffle. You guys all got your tickets? Yes. All right. No one did? Oh, I'm so sorry. We'll try to pass them out later. We got to get the show going. I'd like to acknowledge our collaborators for the night, the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California, the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County, Indivisible, League of Women Voters, NAACP, Riverside Branch, Riverside African American Historical Society, Starting Over Stronger, the group, and the Black Flag. I will quickly do a land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge and recognize our responsibility to the original and current caretakers of this land, water, and air, the Cahuilla, the Tomba, the Liseño, and Serrano peoples, and all their ancestors and descendants, past, present, and future. This meeting place is a home to many indigenous people from all over the world, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work in these homelands. Now, to get started, I will introduce our facilitator, Daryl Fry. Daryl Fry a graduate of Morehouse College, with a dedicated public service with over 5 years of government leadership experience within the California State Assembly. Daryl currently serves as the president of the Black Young Democratic Society, elected member on the Riverside County Continual Care Advisory Board, and newly appointed board member of the Civil Rights Institute.
All right.
Daryl mixes in his love for music and role as a DJ to further mobilize and spark joy in our community. And now I'm going to give it to
Hello, there's Troy. Keep going. Good afternoon, freedom fighters, community change agents, troublemakers. I see y'all here. Again, my name is Dale Fry. Again, I'll be the moderator for this discussion. Mind you, this is probably the biggest panel ever in life. So we have not only a big panel, we have some quality folks here to speak with us. This is a quality panel. And sometimes not about quantity, it's about quality, but we have both. We got a lot and quality. Hello. So we're going to jump into the conversation. It should be about 30 minutes long. It'll be more so up here. We don't have too much time for Q&A, but be mindful. You might have one or two okay? Awesome. So let's jump into it. Let me do some introductions. Starting with my guy Arm right here. My guy Arm. How do you know Arm? Come on. My guy, a Brother Engagement Commissioner here in the city, Associate Director of Development at Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the IE. He actually holds a bachelor's, master's degree from UCR, and he's currently running for city council. Sometimes you gotta step on up out there. If he's elected, he will be the first Armenian American on the council. So give it up for Arnold. Taylor Booker, CEO of the Black Collective. She's political director of the Riverside County Young Democrats, organizer with SEIU Local 1000, and former Riverside City Council candidate herself, trying to get up there. You know, you got to get on the table. In 2024, Miss Kayla Booker, make some noise for her. Oh my God, this one is like here. She's not playing no games. Stanford graduate as well. She actually worked for True Evolution as the director of development and external affairs, where her main job is getting that money. Somebody say money. She's a philanthropic arm, so she's securing funding for the programs. Another cool thing about her, she serves on the California LGBTQ plus Unity Council, advising the caucus, California LGBTQ caucus in Sacramento. Give it up for Ms. Erin. We got OG Miss Katie Green over here. Oh my gosh, she's in the time. Miss Katie Green, a retired Air Force veteran. She served over 44 years as a medic, nurse, and nurse practitioner. And actually, right before, she earned a law degree and volunteer service for 2 decades. So you have veteran and lawyer. I co-founder of the group in Riverside. Any members of the group here? Awesome. And again, she's just a true pioneer for years on end. Everyone knows Miss Katie Green and the IE. So give it up to Miss Katie Green. All right, you guys, I don't know Miss Storm personally, but we need to connect for sure. Storm is a proud Samoan and African American. Come on. Hello. She is really strong. She actually hails from San Francisco. Storm enjoys learning about culture and history, inventions, politics, and education. Please make some noise for Storm. Miss Wong, is that you down there? Is that you, Miss Wong? Okay, here you go. Deborah Wong, here we go. Deborah Wong is an ethnomusicologist and professor emerita of music at the University of California, Riverside, UCR. She's actually a host on a weekly radio show as well, I bet you didn't know that, on Gold Mountain for KUCR 88.3 FM. She's worked on police accountability here in the city. She's been on the committee for Save Our Chinatown Save Our Chinatown Initiative, and has served alongside members of the Atlantia Project, Riverside Women Creating Change. Miss Wong, everybody. Joe Verano, activist, educator, organizer, all the adjectives with over 30 years in higher education, serving as director of Asian Pacific Student Programs at Loyola Marymount University, beautiful campus, and UCR. He's been organizing with SEIU, focused on Asian American drug abuse programming initiatives, fighting the good fight. Mr. Joe Verano. And last, certainly not least, Mr. Maldonado. Hello. Soon to be Dr. Maldonado, by the way. He's activist, community organizer, founder, CEO of True Evolution, health and justice organizer. Again, the organization serves LGBTQ plus people, youth, seniors, and those living with HIV in our communities. Gabriel has served on national and state advisory boards, including appointments by President Barack Obama and Governor Gavin Newsom. Again, Dr. Baldonado to the in events. He's pursuing a PhD in executive management, y'all. So give it up for Mr. Maldonado. So we have some baby boomers, we got some millennials over here, some Gen X generations. Who else? We have millennials and baby boomers. Hello. Any other generations that I didn't cross? That you guys represent? Old folks. It just proves that we got multiple generations on this panel. The conversation is about multiple generational approach to sit-ins, to protesting, to advocacy. So our goal is to kind of explore the commonalities beyond generations, see what's different, see what we learn from the seasoned, older, wise folks, and then, see what we learn from the younger, ambitious, wild, crazy folks and stuff, right? The combination. So jumping into it, I'll start with Storm, if she has a microphone. How would you portray your generational group's approach to good trouble? But first, tell us what generation you're representing, and how do you portray your generation's group approach to good trouble?
I represent millennials. Survival and visibility. Hello? Okay. Close. As a millennial, I say my generation's approach to good trouble is rooted in both survival and visibility. Many of us grew up navigating generational trauma, systems of oppression, and the impacts of incarceration, if not us directly in our families. For me, being small and black and raised by a single father while my mother struggled with addiction and incarceration, good trouble is like showing us anyways. With love, resilience, and truth-telling. So my generation disrupts through organizing, social media, mutual aid, art, and healing spaces. We're not afraid to call things out and feel something better at the same time.
Does anyone resonate, for someone not a millennial on the panel, do you resonate with resilience being a core factor of advocacy and change and making change? Anyone want to shed a light on that and pass it on to somebody that's not a millennial? Anyone resonate?
Okay, Devin. Hello, is this when it's an interesting mic, you guys really get into it. All right, maybe that's the main generational difference here, because I don't really know how to use a microphone. But yeah, the resilience was, I think that's absolutely something that resonates across the decades. I was mentioning to Dr. Wong when I first sat down, when I'm struggling with the notion of generations within a movement. Because for myself, I feel like by the time I came around in the late 70s, early 80s, I was standing on the shoulders of people who had created structures for me already. I was able to approach activism with a level of support and guidance from the people who had come before me. But I didn't consider them a different generation. I considered them mentors. I considered them guides. And throughout my career, I tried to play similar roles in my career in higher education. Real quick tangents. When I was an undergraduate at UCLA, one of the things that we did was there was a affirmative action was an issue that we had to deal with. And one of the tactics that we took on back in those days was we decided we were going to take over the law school at UCLA. And so we all jumped into the law school, we shut it down, closed down the administrative offices, and then there was one dude from the administration who walked in and was talking to each of the different people who were sat in on that office. He was telling them, hello, my name is such and such, I'm an assistant dean here on this campus. I support what you're doing. I have to tell you, you're going to get into trouble if you don't, vacate the premises. You could be subject to university discipline. And I thought to myself, who is this? Well, decades later, my job at UCR
show of John Lewis's life. John Lewis was walking the streets with Dr. King. John Lewis was sitting in the planning meetings with one of the best, community champions. At 23 years old, he's the youngest person speaking at March on Washington. So the fact is that there is a need for young people's energy, but the season's post-wisdom. It's a combination. It's a generational approach to advocacy. Dr. Maldonado, I'm not going to stop saying that. Talk to me about, the IE, the Inland Empire region that we have to fight for. No one's going to come and give us handouts. Dr. Maldonado, you are, very involved statewide. How important is to advocate for the IE across boundaries, across the region, statewide and even federal? Is there importance of bringing support to our region on a federal and statewide level?
Well, first of all, the Inland Empire, for those who don't know, I'm sure all of us who do know, is a total of 27,000 square miles in San Bernardino and Riverside County. We are larger than 5 states in the U.S. You can fit New Jersey 4 times over inside of us. Now, while a lot of that is underdeveloped areas and rural communities, that really, for me, particularly as a developer, is the bedrock of opportunity. When something hasn't been fully developed, when there is still milestones of progress to be made, that is a beacon for people. That is a beacon for people. For all the people that moved out to metro areas and went out over the years, my colleagues and millennials included, we're coming back home. I'm a homeowner back here now. Calling out to so many people who are looking for a variety of opportunity. And the beauty of the Inland Empire that I love and I always articulate nationally is that we are rural, suburban, and urban. We are all three. You can get so many experiences by living here. And when you are part of it, we are a giant single community. I will say in all of the organizing I've done around the country, there is no place, and I say this without BS, there is no place that I find greater solidarity and coalition than my home. There is no place anywhere that I've ever been with that. Sort of closing your first question, though, I would portray my generation of trouble as multidimensional. It is so multifaceted. And I started organizing during a time where there were like 4 or 5 strategies in the toolkit. We didn't have social media when I started. We didn't have any of that. And so it was protest, organizing, chain yourself, write letters, speak to your official. That was the toolkit,
I was left to do, and with that, collaborating with me and sharing on people.
Question really got you into this thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a.
Might have to take it on a date first.
I think that's a fantastic question, and I just want to provide some context. I think I was born between the millennial and Gen Z generation, so I was a millennial, kind of a niche. I don't know if that's really a thing, but I grew up in a time, I think my generation, late 90s, heading into the early 2000s, our generation, our identity, our vision for the world was shaped by 9/11, by the Iraq and Afghanistan war, by the aggression that came around that time, the Patriot Act, the kind of those initial phases that we saw with the Tea Party movement and others that have now blossomed into full-fledged authoritarianism, have blossomed into full-fledged fascism, as Ms. Sorofis put so clearly. Unfortunately, I think along the way, some of the differences that I think we really leaned into, mostly because of the media and social media and things like that, was that old people don't get it, young people are too idealistic and they don't understand the world. And a lot of people bought into that, but that was by design, I think. And I will say, as somebody, I've always been the young person in older folk spaces, and that's always been an interesting perspective. Sometimes you're kind of tokenized and like, hey, can you do my Facebook for me? And and other times you learn so much. You learn from the wisdom, as someone eloquently put it earlier, the wisdom and the knowledge that's been passed down through decades of organizing and protest and action. One of the most profound experiences for me as an organizer when I was attending UC Riverside was hearing from a former Black Panther, Sekou Odinga, who I believe has passed since then, but really taking it back to the basics, right? That we've sort of forgotten nowadays is that trust and relationships are built in person.
Yeah.
If you don't know who you're working with, how can you trust them? How can you build those kind of senses of community? And I think social media has been a fantastic tool for people. It's been incredible in spreading the message and getting more people aligned in growing movements overnight. But I think it's always great to balance that as well with in-person organizing, with in-person community building, to really counteract some of that hopelessness or that sense of everything's over. You know, that you go on social media every time, it's just doom scrolling. The world's end, everything's over. You know, just pack your bags and let it happen. I don't think that's a healthy mentality to buy into. So I would really say something that's helped me is joining a lot of groups that are maybe not even political, but neighborhood groups, community groups, going to Elks Lodge meetings, things like that, where you find folks of a more advanced age, if I can put that.
Thank you. You're being kind.
There's never a correct way to say that.
Yeah.
Maybe formally, yeah. Those spaces were, I believe, the cornerstone of our democracy back in the day. It allowed people to build relationships outside of politics. And I think it allowed them to have that community as they went into their organizing. So I would encourage young people to get involved at those levels too. There's a lot of change that can be affected in non-political spaces, but can still affect quality of life, can still affect taking care of our neighbors who may be unhoused or formerly incarcerated or otherwise, and stepping up in those ways. And I think a lot of those generational barriers are broken once you have a conversation with someone who might be a little bit older. There's a lot more common ground than not, I would say. And I think the general desires for a free society, for a democratic society, for a society where, you know, we don't have a president making unilateral decisions for a country or a Congress that is rubber stamping everything. I think those are shared values, and I think we find a lot of that in the in-person meetings and the work that happens on the front lines. So that would be my
perspective. You're fighting for. I think that's what I learned so much from your remarks. Ms. Katie Green. Let me ask you a question that you can add your remarks. Hopefully we're on the same page.
There's a certain question I want to address. Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
And I would like to start by reading John Lewis' last printed advice to us. Did you know he wrote this? It was published in the New York Times on the day of his funeral. Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest call of your heart and to stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate the way of peace, the way of love, and the way of nonviolence. If they are the more excellent ways. Now, it is your turn to let freedom ring.
All right.
That was this message to me. I slept on it last night and I thought, we can't tire out. We can't get frustrated with each other. We can't dog out other groups. We got to work together. John Lewis started out at a young age, and he lasted until he was 80. And he never stopped. Folks, we have no excuse to stop. We have no excuse to tire out. We have no excuse to dislike other people or other groups. We need to get together and stay together and be as strong as he was. He started young, like 17 years old. 40 times plus. He was struck over the head and on the body. We don't even know how many times, but he hung in there, and he hung in there, and he hung in there. He never tired out, and he
by knocking on our neighbor's door. And, you know, back in the day, my mom, what was my kid doing outside? and they would tell them, like, hey, you gotta get back over that gate, or, you know, I'm gonna tell your mama. And we need to get back to that. So,
And you weren't home by the time the street lights came on.
We have 5 minutes. I'm going to take 2 burning questions from the audience members, just so we can be inclusive. If you got one, second one, raise your hand. Go once, go twice. So it's right in front.
First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for organizing this, and it's beautiful to see the diversity here. I'm wondering, that's what you clap for that. In our nation, yet we have different assets and unique gifts from all of our cultures, from all of us as individuals. How do we continue to be that true melting pot? They seem like they're trying to unmelt everything, right? How do we continue to reflect what we want America to be like, the kind of love that we're feeling in this space?
Continue to connect with your communities, local, in your plenty of different neighborhood groups. I'll throw out a shameless plug. Riverside Neighborhood Partnership. Please sign up, join them. They connect between each ward in the city. There's 7 wards, and they need representation of what's happening in your neighborhood. Also, on top of that, show up to your city council, hear what's going on, listen to the meetings, look at the agendas ahead of time to know what they're putting on the agenda, because that will tell you which way your city council is leaning. So just to be honest.
Thank you.
Just a quick response to that. I think sometimes we need to seek common ground by reaching for higher ground.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get caught up in what's in front of us, but we lose track of what's really inside of us and what's inside of the person next to me, the person next to me. We got to find that common ground by seeking higher ground.
I love that.
I'll keep it very brief, and I'm going to say vote.
All right.
Show of hands, someone who knows someone in this room who didn't vote the last election.
And I was angry.
If you know someone in this room, you know someone who did not vote in this last election.
I didn't get
I know you all voted. I trust the majority of you didn't here. And if you did it, we know what you have to do next time. But that is the assignment, and I want to echo comments that were made by the few organizers. Speak to your neighbors. That is the best, closest way. Because if you can't get out to another city, another campus, a precinct, we get it. But the closest thing to you is your home and who lives around you. If you're in an apartment, your neighborhood, wherever it may be, mobile home park, speak to your neighbors. Because that is how you can make a difference with those who feel that there's apathy and my vote doesn't matter. And we're obviously living through, we know why it does.
Yes,
every single race, every race on the ballot, vote for everything.
One more question. I didn't know they had questions up the panel on that. I was going my own way. I saw it, oh gosh.
I have a question that we need to address because in this last election and then the election before Biden, there was one common denomination that lost us those elections, and it's machismo. Because a lot of men will not vote for a female. It's ironic that South Africa had the first black president before the United States.
And Mexico.
Mexico had a female president. Republicans that are afraid to vote for a female because we know females can control way better than men. Also the Democrats.
I'm 95% agree.
And I went into a lot of families where the wives were telling me how pissed off they were that Kamala didn't win and that Hillary didn't win. And I'll tell you this, I could see in their husbands' faces, they did not vote for Kamala or Hillary because they were in the corner still afraid of their wife. So,
Self-preservation.
Have female candidates for president, machismo wins over everything else. And I'm sorry to say that.
From a man too, from a male perspective, I'm going to machismo, ego, pride, toxic masculinity. How do we address it?
Give it to the youngest in the group.
My name is Wes.
Let me focus in on part of that. I think as we've done sort of the aftermath and the debriefing post-election, we've seen again the role that social media played in changing the mindsets of not just the older generation of machismo, but the younger generation. The young men online who have bought into these red pill, men going their own way, or whatever other fringe movements that has unfortunately captured a lot of these mentalities. These are men that are unhappy with the way the world is, unhappy with their lot in life, maybe their economic situation, and they don't know where to direct that anger and frustration. So they've directed towards women in a lot of those spaces. And unfortunately, they found very supportive communities online. Or what guidance to have. So I think that's a huge conversation, and I know there's been a lot of local and now national efforts to really start building that connection back. But unfortunately, we find ourselves in that position every single time, right? It's always the other. But I think that's played a huge role in really driving a lot of men not to vote for those of them. Not that that excuses it, but I think speaks to a part of that as well.
Can we make some noise again for our panel? Thank you so much for the transparency, your experiences, as well. Cool, so we won't be burnt out.
Yes, indeed.
Amen. Amen. All right. Good trouble. Somebody say good trouble.
Good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble.
Yes, panels, can go ahead and take a photo real quick with this photo. Thank you again. Let's give them a round of applause again. Now, as we begin to transition over to the film, our panelists, I know some of you guys will be doing workshops, so what we can do is put some of the chairs around to face the screen.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Oops, sorry guys. Alright, visiting outside one last time, y'all. We're in downtown Riverside at the new library. Or do we just call that the library now, y'all? You let me know. Hello, just getting the tables one last time. Hello. Huh? They're about to start it. Yeah. Figured I'd come look at the tables.
And it does record. I found that you can go back and see it.
Yeah. Hello. All right. Thanks for hanging.